welcome to HomeTalk USA, right here on the Home Improvement Broadcasting Network. I want to welcome all of you to 2026, our first radio broadcast all across this great country of ours. And again, we want to welcome all of our new affiliates, which if you just joined them, I mentioned all of them. But hey, let's start off with our first sponsor, of the year. I mentioned them, Summit Chemical. Basically, this segment of the show is sponsored by Summit Chemical, the maker of mosquito dunks, mosquito bit, the most effective mosquito control solutions on the market today. SummitChemical.com. Don't forget, you can check all our sponsors at HomeTalkUSA.com. All right, we're talking to the Inventor lady herself from the Invent America radio show, co-hosted by me on the top of the second hour, which you can listen to the show. And we're kind of breaking down all 3 hours of Home Talk right here. And if you just joined us, the first hour we were talking about the main show, Home Talk USA, which is basically education information. Now, we're not a pay-to-play network. We're not a broken network. We don't charge anybody to be on our radio program. For 29 years, me being on the air, nobody's ever paid to say, hey, write the Cajun man a check and we're going to get on his show. We're not pay to play, okay? We're education information. We go out there and find the technologies. We interview the CEOs, the developers, the product engineers, all the people behind the scenes to get the product to market. When you're going down to that box store and you see all them products sitting on there, they came from somewhere. And we like to go through them and report to you on an unbiased report on some of these technologies. Now, when we do that, we do have certain people we get on the show and say, "Oh, how can we sponsor Home Talk?" And I'm going to talk to Rita about that now. The Inventor lady herself, co-host of the Invent America radio program. What is the criteria of getting the sponsors on? Because we just don't take the check and say, hey, get on. There is a vetting process that we do. And I need to tell you, in 29 years, I've probably only had 2 technologies that, to be honest with you, I'm going to admit it here, that I was, on the surface, it looked really good. But when I got them on the show, it really wasn't what I expected. And they didn't become a sponsor anymore, because we're not going to put companies to have their products fail. We're simply not going to do it, right? That, Rita? So there's a criteria. There's a criteria, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, for some of the sponsors, it's, their products have been around for a long time. Most of them I have. One of our sponsors, Mike Wood, all right, Gutter Guard. He goes, let me send you one because we needed one. All that water was running down. And so I was able to put it in myself. It was very inexpensive. They're sold at Walmart on the e-commerce site. And, you climb up on a ladder, you install this little thing, and guess what? The water didn't run down on my head anymore when I was trying to go through the front door. And so, we want to test those products. And, we want things that are making a difference. We want, them to know that by being a sponsor of the show, it's going to make a difference for them as well. And that it's going to make a difference for our consumers. So you're right. It makes it, we want to know that our sponsors are, out there for a reason.
And also that the vetting process, getting them on, testing it. And, a lot of times we get demoed at the trade shows, and, before they write the check. But what I can never understand in the media business, because I don't come from a media background. I'm a contractor. I got into the media business, and I just don't understand, how could you explain a technology or a product in 30 or 60 seconds? I just never got it, other than the name, Coca-Cola or GM. But 99.9% of the companies out there don't have the power of Ford or GM, or you understand when you say Coca-Cola or Tide, or now if you say Procter and Gamble, you might not know, as big as they are, who makes Tide, but all you have to do is say Tide. You don't need a commercial. Tide washes clothes. So I just didn't get it, huh, Rita? So that's the reason why Home Talk was formed, is because we wanted to dig deep And me and you, we play devil's advocate because we ask the hard questions. They come on, we, you know, our listeners can't talk to them. So we have to represent them and ask the tough questions to the manufacturer. And that's how Home Talk was actually formed, right? Because we did
absolutely.
it with you.
Yeah.
Because we did it with you.
Telling, the consumer that there's a new product out there. Well, shoot, they can hear that on a TV commercial. What they want to know is, does it work? Have you tried it? Why is it better? Why is it different than the things that are out there? And so that's what we try to do, is let consumers know what's coming. You let them know what's there. Then we let them know, is this made in America? It's going to be a higher quality if it's made in America.
And it's going to cost a little bit more.
Yeah, it's going
to,
but that stuff that's made in China is, don't want to go there.
Yeah. And that's the point, and we did, I did tests. I did, all sorts of things where we use American products, foreign products. And we had to explain why you're going to pay a little bit more for the American made products, but the quality is there. And I was convinced that the American consumer would pay a little bit more if we can justify why they should pay a little bit more. Good jobs, good infrastructure, local community, local schools, a good tax base. I mean, you look at every manufacturing city that manufacturing products, look at their local infrastructure. They got the best educational systems, best schools, best law, because they have an infrastructure because of the jobs, factories in the United States, due to the small towns. Because that's a small town America. Don't kid yourself. That's where factories locate,
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
And so when we go out and we're looking at, inventors across America, a lot of times they do come from those rural areas, the small towns, and they don't have the support locally that we need to be able to give them information.
Well, Rita, we've got to take a short break. We're going to come right back, and then I want to talk about the Invent America show, the Made America show, right here on the King's Broadcasting Network, streaming live on the World Wide Web at HomeTalkUSA.com. I'm the Cajun Contractor, Michael King, and this is Home Talk USA. Always support your local independent hardware stores and garden centers, and please hire a veteran. We'll be right back. Yay! Welcome back to Home Talk USA, right here on the King's Broadcasting Network. Don't forget, top of the hour, the Invent America radio program, co-hosted by me, the Cajun Contractor, Michael King, and the inventor lady herself, Rita Crompton. That's at the top of the hour. Don't go nowhere as we go on to the Invent America show, and then we're going to switch it to the Made America show right here on the King's Broadcasting Network. But this segment of the show is sponsored by our good friend, Matt DeGron with Aztec Washer. Revolutionary and innovative roofing product since 1968. Seal it right, seal it tight, AztecWasher.com. All right. I'm talking to the co-hosts with me on the Invent America radio program show here on the King's Broadcasting Network, part of the Home Talk USA radio family. Rita, now let's talk about Invent America. What was the inception? What was the thought? What was the brain behind putting this show together that can make a difference to take a company that's thinking about or maybe just starting out to provide that blueprint? So let's talk about some of the blueprint to get that product to market.
Absolutely. Inventors will call me and tell me, it's like, well, this is where I am at in the process. And I will start telling them the mistakes they made. And they go, where were you 5 years ago? It's like, I was in the same spot. You just didn't Google the right things to find out the right information. So our goal was always to help inventors understand that wherever they're coming to us in the process, what is the next most valuable step? And early on, a lot of times they can't get out of their own way as far as believing that they've, had a miracle wow moment. And a lot of times it's out there. It's just, one lady was like, well, this has never been done before. Yes, it has, but it was in a different industry. And so they don't understand that a technology that's being used in one industry, they can't file a patent on that for a different industry because a good patent is not industry or material specific or size specific. And say, well, it's not exactly like mine. Well, it doesn't matter. If they find out a lot of these things up front, they either make a better product or they save a ton of money. And that's what it was always about. It was about helping them make better business decisions sooner rather than later.
It's just a simple process from the thought to putting down on paper to go ahead and learn why you should protect your trademark, what's involved in a trademark, trademark attorneys. And then you have manufacturing, then you have distribution. One of the questions that's always asked: should I license it or should I manufacture it myself, distribute it myself? There's a whole bunch of questions that have to be answered. And we here to help them and guide them because each individual case is different.
Absolutely.
And we would hate to have a technology of the future get stomped out early when this technology could have changed the home improvement industry.
Absolutely. I mean, the big early mistakes that I see. I wrote my own patent. No, 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 no. It's called being pro se, and I say pro se no way, because there's a reason these guys pay a lot of money to go to school and learn how to do this, and you can't learn it, on a Saturday morning at an SBA class. It's not going to happen. Artificial intelligence is only so good, and you don't get to do a patent via artificial intelligence. Holy cow. The other big mistake that I see on an early stage, I did a business plan. You don't have a business yet. You don't even have prototypes yet. How can you do a business? Well, they're guessing. Guesses don't work. So what we do is one step at a time. What is the first thing that gets done? Then do you file a non-provisional patent, that utility patent? Do you file a provisional? What is the business strategy? Why do you do those things? So that we've got something to work at as we get down the road. And the problems with, that do-it-yourself, no do-it-yourselfers on the business side of inventing, you license it. Because when the inventor goes to business organically, they frequently are just devoured by the big guys. So what do you do? Well, there's an option. It's called licensing. And that's what we do, is try to guide people through the process. Are you going to do you get to buy an island when you invent a product? No, you don't get to buy an island. You get extra disposable income, but at least you get to go and make a deposit in the bank instead of a withdrawal.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And then we talk about the most important part that never comes into the equation is marketing. And that is where my expertise, your expertise, to say, okay, if you're going to license it, well, the company you license to is going to market. You're going to get a residual. But what if you make that decision to distribute yourself or manufacture it yourself or go get a manufacturer? Well, how are you going to get it on the shelves? Do you have a marketing budget? How much is the marketing budget cost? Is it expensive? There's a whole bunch of questions you need to answer.
The basic formula for an inventor is the multiple of 5. So if you've got a product that should sell to the consumer for $50, that means you have got to be able to make it, package it, and ship it, landing in the States, if it's made out of the country, for 10. All right. Well, the store is going to sell it for 50. They bought it for 25. A wholesaler or distributor bought it from you for $12.50. And that means that you've got to pay all of your marketing costs. You've got to pay all your service providers, your attorney, your accountant, and everybody out of the $2.50 per unit. And for some inventors, that's a deal breaker. They can't do it. Marketing alone is going to cost more than that. Your attorney is going to cost you more than that. So when we start looking at what are your options, and all right, let's say they're really successful. They can't sell it all themselves and do all the shipping themselves. Now they've got a facility that is going to do their shipping for them. And now they got to pay that out of the $2.50. It's like, how many times can you divide up the $2.50 before you say, oh my God, shoot me now?
Well, we're going to be transferring over to the top of the hour in about 10 minutes. And you got an outstanding opening show for 2026. But what I want to say is you're going to have some guests. But what's important about these guests, these are the companies, the entrepreneurs, the inventors that's actually been through the process, going through the process, that can help us explain to our audience their experience from a real person, a live person, not an AI person, to explain their journey. And that's the key. and you have a great show lined up, and as you have a great show lined up in the third hour for Made in America. But Invent America is special. It's growing. As you saw, we picked up 3 more radio affiliates all across the country because, as you always say, invent America because America invents. And that's the key. We don't counterfeit. We don't steal. We invent. And that's the difference between our country and third world companies and countries, because all they can do is try to steal our intellectual. I like that word, intellectual.
Yeah.
I got my own, I got my own language, right?
I know you do.
Yeah,
I know you do. You speak
exactly.
You speak King Cajun. So
Yeah.
the important thing for everybody to remember when you go out there and you buy something, someone invented that. Whether it's a game, all right, or a new piece of cutlery, somebody at some point invented that. And
right.
So the consumers are the beneficiaries of all of that intellectual property.
That's right. And when we come back off a break, though, we're going to talk about the Made in America show. Now, the Made in America show is a little different type of show. It gets more not only into the interview process with products made in America, but it also gets into the political realm of the products. It's more political. The politics that's involved to try to understand to make these companies successful and make them a profit. And we're going to talk about that when we come back off a break. All right, we're going to take a short break right here on the King's Broadcasting Network. I'm the Cajun contractor, Michael King, along with my guests, HomeTalk USA, the Inventor lady herself with Inventor America Radio, right here on the King's Broadcasting Network. Don't go nowhere. We're going to be right back. Y'all come back now. You hear? Welcome back to HomeTalk USA right here on King's Broadcasting Network, broadcasting all across this great country of ours on our local radio affiliates. You can check out our radio affiliate list on HomeTalkUSA.com. But hey, this segment of the show is sponsored by Bond Products, DIY corporate binding. There is only one InstaBind, bondproducts.com. Again, you can check out all our sponsors for 2026 on our website at HomeTalkUSA.com. By helping to patronize all these great companies, basically keeps our show on the air because none of our guests are charged to be on this radio program. My guest on HomeTalk USA is part of the HomeTalk USA family, is the inventor lady herself, Rita Crompton, the co-host of the show on the Invent America Radio Network all across our radio affiliates. And if you just join us, Rita was just explaining a little bit about Invent America show. Now, the third hour, Made in America. Now, Made in America is just a little different type of show. We get more into the politics of the show. But where the confusion is sometimes is that one week you're listening to the co-host of the show, the Made in America show, Mr. Zach Model from the Chairman Show, who comes in. He has his own show called the Chairman Show, but he comes in every other week and he gives us the political part of our show, the politics, Washington, senators, laws that's coming up the pike, laws that are good, laws that are bad, that affects our home improvement industry. And then every other week, we have a guest from the Made in America that makes the products in America. So we swap it each week, but it's all HomeTalk USA. It's all Made in America. But the thing is, it makes no sense to just talk about products if we don't get behind good laws and good, get the people in 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue to wake up and understand that we are the voice of the people. It's the people that manufacture. It's the people that distributes. And finally, without getting too political, we finally got a president that understands that. Make America great again. And that's what he's trying to do. But we do the factual part. We just don't make it a left issue or right issue, but we want to make it a real issue. And we talk on both. And I'm just proud of that show. I really am. And it's growing and you're proud of it. And You co-host the show with me, with Zach Modal. And I don't know. You asked me how it works. Does it work or how does it work? And I can't tell you how does it work, but all I know it does.
It does. And I love being able to be the one that gets to tell the stories about the Made in America products and some of the different folks that I've had on, and talk about the wonderful things that are made literally in our own backyard. And, some of them have been generations and they've gone through and adjusted and stayed with the times, whether they were starting before, World War II or before the pandemic and lived through the pandemic. And, they've seen technology change. They had to stay with it to do it. But, for generations, some of these companies have been manufacturing. And that's what I get to do, is tell the stories about those families, the technology. What are they doing? What are their challenges? What do they still do in their communities? Because I know that the one coming up, Campbell Scientific, they're very active in their communities throughout Utah. So, it's fun to watch, and the privilege, it's a privilege to be able to present these folks so that when you've got to make a decision, and you can say, oh, let's buy this one. It's made in America. And I heard them on the radio. It's really wonderful.
Yeah. And it's so important to tell their story, because that's what radio is all about. It's the story.
Yes.
The story behind whatever you're reporting. It's just that we're reporting about technology. We're not reporting about politics, or, it's the technology that's going to make our life better. And
well, yeah, the cool thing is Made in America is a combination. It's the stories about the families that have been doing it for generations, or the guy that's just getting started and his son is now helping to run the business. But you were right when you said it's a combination of the stories and the rules. What are the games they have to play? What are the strategies they have to do that deal with, the getting stuff out, things that are made here in America and are shipped out to different countries. So they've got the reverse sometimes to deal with. And so we want to know what those are. I think everybody needs to understand what those challenges are so they can appreciate.
And the bad legislation that's out there, when it's bad, we're going to point it out.
Absolutely.
We did a whole 3 months on tariffs. We broke down tariffs. We broke it down. We answered the question, is tariffs good? Is it bad? What's the pluses of tariffs, and but we did that on the show without having a political bias. We just report the truth. And that's the point. Our audience wants to know the truth. So that's what they can expect on HomeTalk USA, what they can expect on the Invent America show on Invent America Radio Network, and what they can expect on the Made in America show in the third hour. Now, we only got about a minute left, and we're going to make that transition. I just wanted to thank you for coming on HomeTalk USA. I'm excited. In about 30 seconds, we're going to switch over to the Invent America show, hosted by me and you. And you got some great guests lined up that's going to change the way we look at technology, change the way we get products to market. Inventor Lady, I'm excited. I know you're excited in 2026. It's been a good 4 years for you, a good 29 years for me, and I am counting. I don't know. You keep convincing me let's just do one more year. So I'm on a year contract now, and I hope we just keep it going, and our guests, our sponsors, and we got some great sponsors, some great people. So we're all excited. So, all right, we're going to have to take that does it for HomeTalk USA right here on the King's Broadcasting Network. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with Rita Crompton, the Inventor Lady herself, on the Invent America radio program. Y'all come back now. You hear?